Hi, thanks for being here. I made a video yesterday and the sound wasn't great, so hopefully it's better today and you can hear me. I'm still gonna, I'm, I'm creating a new intro for that video and I'm gonna work on the sound quality. The intro on it was pretty much non-existent, so I'm just introducing that video. I'm calling this The Great Undoing. I'm gonna go through a few videos talking about undoing the undercurrent that we create by what we perpetually tell ourselves, what we've learned to tell ourselves, that pretty much creates our reality. It's in our subconscious and we're not really aware. It's been too normalized to be aware of and continuously looking at. So we just kind of have these things that we've learned through our lives that we normalized, and they kind of just control how we live our lives. And so it's really helpful to undo what no longer serves us and choose better. And so that's basically what I'm talking about here and how to do that. We tell ourselves things like that we're only worthwhile if we're going after our goals and proving ourselves, and life isn't fair, and all these things. We have all these things that we tell ourselves perpetually through our lives and are told to us by generally well-meaning people who think that that's helpful in what we need to tell ourselves and that they learned and keep passing it on. And it's really made up construct that's like an undercurrent for us, and we're actually already worth value. We are valuable just naturally, just in our natural just beingness. And when we know that, then we're in line with our truth. Money doesn't grow on trees, all these little cliche things that everyone says. Those kind of like repeat under the surface and are just accepted as normal, but we don't realize that we're creators, and so we're creating kind of a fake reality by having that as our undercurrent. So by repeating new things to yourself until they take hold, we create a new undercurrent that creates a reality for us. We are creators, and reality is not separate, so it's always responding to us as creators. And the more you know that, you actually come into tune with reality more. And it's almost like reality has natural checks and balances so that we don't completely destroy everything until we get it, and then the checks and balances ease up. But it's not that we're being tested or something, it's that we actually are gaining more and more resonance with the truth. There's some people that are going to be in resonance with me and some people that will be out of resonance with me. And if you're in resonance, you'll understand what I'm saying. And some people will not understand but still feel some kind of resonance, and it feels good to them, like they're hearing something that is like a deep down knowing. Well, some people will just be like, what the heck is this lady saying? And that's okay. And I'm glad you're here and welcome, no matter where you're at on this. But what I'm saying is something that I've somehow just known my whole life, but felt like an alien trying to fit in. And so I kind of put aside a lot about myself, trying to understand what I'm just seeing around me and trying to be what I saw around me, trying to fit in, I would say, and I think generally we all do that. We're tribe-minded, we're village-minded, even though we live in such a separation kind of society that's actually really unnatural. We're naturally made for working together like a village and things like that, and not having so much put on each individual alone to deal with, and supporting one another. But even in supporting one another, if we don't know who and what we actually are, we're not going to be providing the best support. So I think that we're actually going through some enormous changes and shifts where things are coming up and purging, and we're recreating, and it looks pretty ugly here and there. It's kind of like when you dig out all your junk everywhere, maybe out of your closets and shelves and drawers and garages and sheds and everything, and it's all a big mess. And then you start to get rid of what isn't needed and organize the things that you still love and all that, or still need. Sell stuff, whatever, you're just going through all of that stuff and resorting it. That is what's happening because there are big changes occurring right now. And so it's kind of messy. It's really messy right now. I'm just, and so, but I love everybody, and I know that it's traumas and survival and fear and all these things and separation consciousness and not knowing who and what we are, that is what perpetuates these harmful ways of being. So I'm coming on here to express that we're actually all one. It's not something that I believe, it's something I know, and lost that knowing and got it back. So, but somehow, somewhere deep down, I still know. So with that knowing, there's a lot of wind all of a sudden. It's funny about belief versus like a knowing, and I'm not here to convince you. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to push an agenda on anyone either. I'm just expressing myself, and if it resonates and it feels right to you and feels good, then then maybe it is a truth for you. And it is a truth, but I'm not trying to force you to believe the truth. My truth, okay? So I'll just put it that way. But it is something I know. You can believe something, but you want to ask questions and you want to feel for answers within you. And our body is our compass. It's more than our body, because we are not our body. We have a body. Our body is part of us in this experience. It's not nothing separate. So we're having a physical experience, so we have a body for this experience. It's kind of like frozen light, frozen fractals of light. We're having this experience that is physical so that we get the opportunity to experience limitation, because we're very creative when we experience limitation. And so we're really here to have fun with experiencing limitation in a physical experience, when we're actually unlimited beings. So we kind of put a smaller part of ourselves, like a spark. There's actually a spark in us, and we're here experiencing this reality with like a smaller aspect of our whole self, witnessing ourselves experiencing limitation and being creative. So when you go within, you get your answers, and some things are just truth, just absolute truth. Some things are truth for you, and it's up to you to learn how to discern. And it's also important not to judge others and where they're at, and just be present with reality and with people, and know that we're all like growing and experiencing and learning and developing and creating out of our experiences. And there is no one separate. There's no thing and no one separate. So that whole NPC thing and narcissist thing, that those are separate, is not true. Sorry, there's no NPCs. There are people that lost their connection more, and then they're feeding off the energy of others. That is true, and it's not necessarily on purpose. Some may have learned things and do things on more purposefully, but they're even still missing certain knowledge, and that's why they could get that level of dark and evil, which is live backwards. So it's really, we're living in frequencies and energies and light and fractals, and it's repeating, and we're all connected and we're all one, and we do actually need to care about everyone, as hard as that can be. And those that are destroying things are destroying themselves and us, because we're not separate. And it's really sad. And so my goal is to get through to people, but it's also to just be free here and express myself, and stop holding back and stop shrinking myself for people's comfort, and no longer hiding who I know and what I know, who I know and what I know we are, and that I am. And so I'm going to come on here and express things about that whenever I feel called to. So if I'm resonating, that's awesome. Oh, and that's what I wanted to say earlier, though, was we feel our way. And a lot of people don't know that about our system. Like, we're made with this incredible, intricate system of being able to ask within and getting our own answers directly from the divine, you could say, from God, from Source, from all that is, and that which you are a part of and can't be separate from. It is with you, as you, through you. You are with all of it, as everything, through everything. All is one. And because of that, we can feel when we're on or off resonance, because that is flowing through us, with us, as us. And when you're out of resonance, you feel it, and it feels painful, and it feels wrong. It feels off. And then you feel all these emotions, and yeah, there's that emotional scale. And I don't want to, the problem with that emotional scale, though, is you can actually be in a high frequency and feel sadness and anger and all kinds of things. So it's not exactly perfect, but it does help kind of paint a picture. Like, if you've heard of the emotional scale, I think it might have been Abraham Hicks, if you've heard of her, who she's Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, and so it's called Abraham Hicks. But yeah, if you've heard of her, she's an incredible teacher. But she talks about the emotional scale and working your way up, and that helps you raise in frequency. And yes, that's true, but it's also, if you're negating any feelings at all, which she does talk about this as well. So I'm definitely giving kudos to everything with how she teaches, but some people can simplify it too much if they didn't hear enough of what she speaks on that, where that emotional scale, where there's all the negative emotion, what's considered negative emotions, and working your way up to positive emotions to be on a higher frequency. For example, compassion is all emotions in one, and that is a very high frequency. So you can feel the depth, and love, actually. I would say love is all feelings and all emotions in one. Feelings and emotions are slightly two different things. You can feel things are on or off. You also can feel with your senses, and that's not an emotion. So I do want to kind of just make a distinction between that as well. But emotions are our guidance system. And we have an emotional guidance system that gives you senses of when things are on or off. So an example is intuition. You can go into a room and feel a vibe there. You can meet someone and feel a dissonance or a connection. And these are all guidance. Sometimes someone could feel a dissonance with me because they're projecting onto me something that they don't want to look at in themselves, and I might have integrated that. And so there could even be a dissonance for a positive reason, but it's just something that person hasn't faced yet in themselves, and then they're projecting onto me something, it could be whatever, and they could feel some kind of disdain or something. But sometimes someone can feel this strong connection and just know that there's this energy of truth there, and they want to know more and not necessarily know why, and sometimes I can, or you can sense somebody that you feel some kind of absurdity and you don't know why, and it's not necessarily a positive thing. You can just sense that they have been doing really awful things. So there's nothing hidden. And you have to learn how to discern which thing it is by feeling it. So there's a lot to it. Like, I can simplify it, but then there's so many layers to it, and it takes a lot of inner work to understand and grasp and experience out of it. Experience changes in reality, truth in reality. Rather than what some people call matrix creations in reality. But yeah, so this is a great undoing and redoing, and now I mostly try to stay as present as possible and feel my way. But that's because I've gotten my mind to be more present. And I see imagery more than words now, and I just let the words flow through me in presence as they just come. Like, if someone's speaking to me, I don't try to think of the next thing to say to them. I just stay present with what they're saying while just being completely present, so I fully hear them. And then as soon as they're done, then I've fully grasped them from my perspective, and then can come back with whatever needs to be said, but it comes through me instead of me overthinking and trying to figure out what to say when it's my turn and not being fully present and maybe missing some of what they were expressing. And that's something that takes time to learn, but what I've learned to do in order to get there was to let the thoughts that are there to just float by like clouds in the sky and not attach to any that I don't feel like attaching to anymore. Just letting them go and knowing they're not me. They're just an energetic sequence just there that you can choose to attach to and build upon or let float by. And then you can choose better thoughts from there. But besides doing that, I also repeated new things that I would prefer, new things to take over. And I did that for years. It took years, and I still do that from time to time, where I'll repeat what they call affirmations. I'll repeat those, like when I'm doing dishes or taking a shower or doing mindless activities, driving, whatever. I'll just repeat and repeat and repeat, because it's creating new neural pathways for the thoughts to go through in your brain. So your brain is like your computer. It's the physical part of your mind. And you reprogram that part of you. The thoughts are never you, but you can have your body be more of an advantage to you instead of a disadvantage by undoing the thoughts that are not serving you anymore and reprogramming to the new ones. But know that none of them are actually you. You're choosing for this experience. You're choosing the thoughts to make neural pathways for. Your thoughts aren't in your head. They're not stored there and saved there. But you create the neural pathways for them to follow through. We're all energetic beings that are much bigger than this avatar, you can call it. Okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this is a helpful video, and I love you guys. We're all one. Of course I love you. So have a good day.